Hi. It looks like the online phenomenon is here to stay. And currently, it's a wild west out there. So, I'm going to give you some hints and tips about how you can improve your presentation on screen. Now, the first thing you've got to think of is this rectangle, because that's your first impression. It's not just you, it's everything within it. So, you don't particularly want anything distracting in the background. If you've got a plain background, as I have in my room, then I think that's best, because that means the viewer's attention is focused on you 100% and the message that you want to convey. Because remember, it's the message that you want to convey that is the important thing. If you're going to give regular talks, then you might want to think about investing in a printed background, one that has texture but it is just an out of focus type cloud thing. Then the other thing to think about is where you position your camera lens. Now, if you think about how you interact with most people, it's usually head to head, eye to eye. And if you watch the news broadcast, for example, you will notice that the broadcaster's head is on a level with the camera. So that's what we're used to. Now, most people just work from a spare room or whatever, and their laptop generally is on their desk. So the lens on the laptop is well below their head. And when they just do a broadcast like that, the camera is shooting up their nostrils. Not a great look. So just be mindful of that and think about raising your camera lens so it's level with your eyes. And you can do that with a couple of box files, and then resting the laptop on that, or you might have a stand that you can buy where you can attach your smartphone. The other thing to think about is where you position your laptop. Now, we've talked about a background. The worst thing you can do is to sit in front of a window, then turn your back to the window and have your laptop in front of you. Now, it might be convenient for you because the light is falling on your laptop and you can see the keys, etc. But as far as the camera is concerned, it's got this huge light behind you that it has to expose for. So it closes down the aperture, which means that you are then put in shadow and you become a silhouette, like one of these shady criminals in these documentaries when they're being interviewed. You don't want that. This is the equivalent of a live presenter putting up a slide full of text and then reading their speech from the slide. We've all been there. So that's a big no-no. Watch out for that. Make sure that your frame is exposed correctly and people can see your eyes and the expressions that you pull. The last thing I'm going to recommend is that you stand up when you give your talk. Because when you're sat down, you're obstructing your diaphragm to a certain extent. And so that your breath can't come as freely. So stood up, if you're slightly nervous, being stood up will help in that respect. The more important thing, though, is that being stood up gives a sense of dynamism to your presentation. It also gives you a sense of occasion. If you're just sat at a desk normally, then you might not be as animated as you would be if you think, right, I'm going to give a performance to the camera. And it's something we're going to have to get used to, because more and more of us are going to have to talk to a camera which doesn't react. And so we're going to have to learn how to animate ourselves and give an enthusiastic performance so that the viewer can absorb the message more easily. So I hope those tips have been useful for you. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and I'll upload more in the future. Thanks for listening. See you next time.